could have, dude, I should have re-entered right here, man. It's within the same candle I lost in, but later on we create SMT here. With the 4-hour candle here, and the new week opening gap. And then this asset also CSDs, the weaker one. So this 945 candle, I should have re-entered right here, bro. This was not looking, bro. I'm 2 minutes late. You missed everything. But yeah. And then I took silver. This is fire. This is pretty one-sided here, in my opinion, too. What else? I took ES too. But I took another 1 minute. It was just to hit a trading day. But there's a value. If you trade my model, it's right here. Pretty fire draw. I was looking at this draw right at 9:30, but we decided to go lower. A bit lower. But yeah, all you have to do is right here. I got in a bit earlier though. There you go. That's just a really nice draw right there. All these highs. Especially after a fat ass day like this, and then we take out this relevant low, it's like you can't expect a huge ass day. I mean, price can do whatever it wants, but I just wouldn't be expecting that. Oh, that's what I took a positional entry today. There's like multiple ways you can do positional entry. So one of them is like on candle opens, which is the one I did today. The other one is like news positional entries. But I'll show you this one right here. So there's a couple ways you can do it. So one way is if the candle, so first off, the previous candle has to reverse, right? That's for one, because you're trading continuation on that next candle, you're expecting continuation. So in this case, like you have an SMT up here. And there's reasons why I'm pretty one-sided here. And if I look at the other assets at this point, they're very overextended. If I show you, look at the daily range. It's like I can't expect the stronger assets to continue higher, right? It just doesn't make sense. So what would be a perfect area for a potential pullback on the stronger assets? It would be this high, right? And now if we put an SMT here, that's perfect. But look at the opposing side of this, run on this high with this SMT. You have like failure swings here. So there's a reason to go lower. There's also a fair value gap here, right? Prior to this open, right? There's a fair value gap. So there's a reason to go lower, right? You have 3 expansion candles on the 4-hour as well. Put in a reversal candle, etc. So there's reason to come lower, right? At this point on these stronger assets. So that means the weaker asset obviously can go lower. If I play price here, all I'm looking at this as is expansion, right? I can assume the high of the day is in. Now we're consolidating within a gap here. And this is when we form the SMT, like I said. And this is also when we retest this opposing candle, which is really nice. Right? And then we have all these lows. So it's just really one-sided to me. So when it's one-sided like that, and I also see that this candle too also CSD'd in the hourly, it's like I'm not expecting this high to get taken right here. So I can just get in on the pretty much on the retest on the lower time frame. So like you can enter like right here. I got filled a little bit lower, but that's essentially what I did. It's when you essentially either set a limit at the invalidation point that candle 2 created. So it would be like this CSD, which is basically what I entered on. You can put out this breaker. So something like this, right? Here's just like TP1 here. Or you could just enter right on the opening price of this next candle, which is the same thing. It's like in the same general area. So you have 2 options. You either set a limit or you just enter on the opening of the new candle and put your stop loss at the invalidation point that resides in candle 2. But you see how it's like one-sided to me? So it's like when buy, be expecting, it doesn't make sense to really do that. I wouldn't want to see that, right? If the other asset manipulated, then what do we want that asset to do, right? Expand. So there's no reason for some pullback, right? If I go over here and we see that this is the new candle open on the stronger asset, I don't need to see this. I don't need to see opposing run that. So I definitely don't need to see it on the weaker asset. Does that make sense? So there's a little bit that goes into it, but yeah. It's essentially when you have like one-sided bias. There's also like ways to do it with news as well, which I do quite a bit. But it's also continuation generally. Yeah, this would have been a crazy day though, if this fucking hit. This would have been badass, dude. Like this framework is pretty fire too. Ba, 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 ba. Hella annoying. Should come in tomorrow. Tomorrow. Then I can start maybe making YouTube videos if I'm not a lazy fuck. If I'm not lazy. Probably should, dude. Yeah, we can go over my seal trade. Alright, so just off the daily chart, right? We hit a relevant level here. Right? And what we see on Friday's close, so I shorted this day. If you look on Friday, we took out the previous day's high, as you see. But on CL, we did not. Now this to me does not look like a potential reversal yet. You would need to see this next day expand, right? So it can be considered a reversal, right, on this specific day. But you need to see continuation through that, right? Because automatically, like, I don't like the way that we trade into this high, this reaction. It doesn't really, especially since we hit this earlier, it's not giving a fucking reversal. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like you would need a profile to support continuation bearishly for this day here. But when you get the opposing side, then I'm really bullish, right? Because it just looks like expansion this high, consolidation, right? This SMT was just like a pullback. There's no like fair value gaps here. If you go on like a lower time frame or something, that might be. But there's no reason to even look, to be honest. I don't need to see a fair value gap. Yeah, but you can see the consolidation. That's what I'm trying to show you, right? Just like a consolidation. So when you think about a bullish candle, right, it opens low first. That's ideally how you want it to be formed, right? You want it to open low first to create its wick, and you also want a small opposing candle. So you have both of those things, right? When those two things align, it's pretty nice to see. And then when I drop lower, right, here's the open low, and then here's that new week opening gap. So price is respecting that new week opening gap, as well as just these opposing. It's just a really nice area for distribution or whatever you want to call it, right? Like really nice. So this is where I was looking too long, right? What the fuck? New week opening gap. And we saw these equal highs, right? We had some sort of, manipulation. If you know my course, you know what this is right here. So I was looking to trade 9 o'clock candle right here because we formed a swing point. When you form a swing point, like a 3 candle formation, typically the fourth one also expands. If we haven't yet really expanded in candle 2 or 3, you see there's not much of expansion here, really. So that's what I was looking to trade. And then when I saw price make an opposing run, see how it opens low first, and then you have like this breaker or whatnot. And at this point, there's like also SMT here as well. Yeah, like there's SMT with this low too. So I thought it was a good trade. And this is what I took when we closed above. So then I assumed that this low was put in on the 1 hour candle. So that was my entry to get to this high. And I would take it again over and over. But this right here is very high probable because what we see on this asset over here, if you look at the 4-hour chart, we take out the 2 a.m. low here. So we take out London lows, but on CL we create that higher high. We're still holding that higher high. And then the weaker asset also CSDs, which is always something you want to see. And that's something I didn't wait for, I don't think. Yeah, like my entry was like around here, and you look at CL and obviously not even close to CSDing. But when you look here, you get this pretty much CSD right there on both assets. It's pretty nice. So that could have been a re-entry right there. But you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda, you know. But that was my thought process. And it just ripped, didn't it? Crazy. And I liked it also. When I was entering, I was just above the daily open. So when you look here, like look at the candle. We have yet to even expand. So I really like entering like that, because then you can catch this potentially, right? That's the same thing as my trade over here, right? If you look at the daily candle, where am I entering at? Above the open, damn near. Look, the candle has yet to expand, so you want to catch that. Like these are your best trades when the candle looks like this, or even if it's bullish when you're bearish. Position yourself in that wick when objectives haven't been met. That's the best. And then I wasn't really considering this. Like we swept these highs, but I don't care about this high because it's a failure swing. This is like irrelevant. This high. But yeah, that was my thought process there. Can you explain when a pair changes strength? Yeah. This simply means this is what you always want to see, is when you're, let's say, one asset takes out a low, and then the other asset makes a lower low. You always want to see the weaker asset that sweeps also give a bullish reaction, obviously, because if it just like chops around, then this asset's probably lagging, meaning that this asset will probably take out this low too. So you want to see this asset give a bullish reaction, obviously, right? So when you have this SMT here, one way to look at this, there's like a couple ways. Like if this asset just makes a bigger displacement, or like maybe creates a fair value gap, this asset doesn't create a fair value gap. That's just one way. There's also another way. Maybe we then later on put a bullish SMT in, and then we like sweep this lot or something. That's another way. There's like multiple ways, but you know what I'm saying? That's just one way like strength will switch. And I do this like every day. There's a lot of like one way I just described it was this CL trade, or not CL. This asset over here, like how do you know when the weaker asset will expand, etc. There's a lot of sauce in it, and I think knowing the like when to anticipate expansions or like cracking correlations or whatever you want to call it, that's like probably the best thing to know, to be honest. It's just so good. And it's not even in my course necessarily, because like it's just like it's a little complex, but I talk about it a lot in my streams. I may add it in the links. Gotta make it like mechanical or something. Studying, dude. AC, what the fuck did you take, dude? Trying. I didn't really look at it, so like I'm not even gonna pull that up. But... Okay, you entered before 9:30 here, bro. You caught this, didn't you? Right? You caught this candle, right? Inaccurate. I'm guessing on the 5-minute, bro. No, I actually don't know what you took, bro. We looking at YM? I'm just fucking blind here. Oh, maybe. Hold on. 8:45. No, dude. I don't know what the hell you took, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you got that, bro. Oh, there's a 1 minute thing. That's lame. Dude, what the fuck do you take here, man? 8:59. What? 9 o'clock. Yeah, buddy, I don't know what the fuck you took. I'll have to figure that out. I don't see it, bro. Anyways, good trade. PA's weird today. A bit. I did long, I long NQ though. Just because I just targeted this here. It just said a trading day. But I essentially just long this, right? So if you look on this asset, being the weaker one of the three, so I'm longing the weakest one, but I'm still expecting this high to get hit. And I was expecting this asset over here to take out this. It's just a really obvious draw. When you see like 1800 high of the day, just kind of chopping around, right? Then we manipulate to get back to that. Something that I'm always looking for, right? Um, and then if you go to the daily chart, it's just you don't expect a very large range after this huge range and hitting this low. Like on a Monday, I'm not expecting a huge continuation or nothing like that. So when you don't even put an established high of day in to even trade away from, you want to trade back to that generally. Let me see the 9 o'clock. Oh, that's really nice. But yeah. So why I even took this, right? Because if I go here, look at this close on this 10 o'clock candle. We obviously CSD, but we don't CSD over here. So like I'm already expecting this swing point here. Like I said, when you create a swing point, we don't expand. The candle force should expand like pretty aggressively. And again, I'm not expecting price to come down. It just makes sense. Because if ES is going to continue, which I am expecting, to all these highs, then so should NQ. So I just entering because it's lower on the range. So I dropped lower. I believe I entered like after we swept this low on like the 1 minute. Oh no, it's like right here. So we already CSD'd at this point. So like I could have mechanically entered right here on like I believe this asset. Yeah, I could have entered like right here mechanically. But I just opted to take the 1 minute. Just kind of like confirming the 5 minute with the 1 minute. That's all I'm doing. And I'm just trading within a bullish reversal into expansion candle over here. I believe there's like additional SMT here. Yeah, like there's an SMT this low. Not really that significant, but there is an SMT, right? So when we put this in here, like that's all I'm concerned about is entering off that. And then looking for these highs. It was literally just to get like my trading day locked in. That's really it though. On another account. Ban who? No, that is valid, Ronald. That's definitely valid. I just wanted a smaller stop. And like I said, I was just going for a trading day. That's what I do a lot. Like quite a few accounts, so it's like annoying. In your course, you say that you always go with time frame alignment, but how do you know that if you're not in the lens? But yeah, I can bend the rules a bit, right? So like sometimes I'll trade candle 2, which is not in my course, it's not in the fractal model, but with experience, with the right intentions, you can bend the rules a bit. And then I'll take like positional entries, not my course, around news drivers. Like these are like just advanced stuff like that. There's a lot of things that are not in my course, but the main framework is what matters, and then you will learn a lot from the streams. And then obviously I'm going to add to it eventually. I'll eventually add stuff like that, but I just don't want people just to be taking like all these misaligned timeframes. You have to keep it simple for people because they're obviously don't have the experience I have with my own model. You know what I'm saying? I don't want people trading candle 2s everywhere. That's just not going to work. They just don't. People just don't know when and where to use it because they just don't have the experience yet. Saw some videos on YouTube. Yeah, I can't do anything about that shit. Hey Garrett, I took a sell in gold. 6 a.m. created 30-minute fractal. I took their own thing. Can you please? Yeah, so I shorted silver, right? I posted that, but you don't want to short this asset, and you have to understand that this here, this little, I don't know where you're shorting this. I guess off this or something. Wait, where did you say? 6 a.m. created 30-minute fractal. Okay. Okay, so like this, right? Did you enter this right here? Because this is where I entered, but on CL or on silver. So I don't think this is the worst short, but you need to understand like what you're trading within. You're trading within a bullish expansion candle, right? So this candle doesn't support bearish expansion. But what does support bearish expansion? This candle over here. So simply just trade silver, it's weaker, right? So you have to understand when you're fading a daily candle, you need to be targeting back within that candle's range, right? So like this fair value gap is a good one. This 4-hour fair value gap or just EQ of that. Can't be too ambitious on your targets. They don't support expansion. And we can already tell this candle literally can't be a bearish expansion candle. It cannot be it. So it only could ever close a reversal candle with a super large wick. But it's more than likely going to close above the daily open. So if your targets are like down here or something, that's not going to work out. So as a beginner, you would recommend normal. No, I don't. That's not even the time frame I use. I use 4-hour, 1-hour, or 4-hour, 30-minute. And then if you're using the 1-hour, it's 5-minute, and the 30-minute, it's 3-minute. So like what you saw me do on silver. There's only a specific reason why I'm going with the 1 minute. It's not like, it's not an everyday or every situation thing. Like my trading is, it's pretty mechanical, but when it comes to entry and stuff like that, like you can always bend the rules. That can always be bent. Entries are the least important part. When you come to framing trades, that's what should be consistent. Okay, if Asia expands and London consolidates, we want to trade New York AMD, take out London highs, and we want to. Did you mean to say if Asia, the key message London expands? Okay, that's what I meant by that. Now, I don't even like to trade that. What I meant by that is if Asia expands, then if there's still a draw open or something, right? So ideally, this is not the profile you want to trade. But if I'm going to trade away from the low day, and I'm really far from the low day, I'm obviously not trading away from anything protected in a sense, right? So when you're longing or shorting above the daily open like this, so I'm longing above the daily open, let's say the daily open is like, right here or something. I want to, I want price to form some sort of protected swing above the daily open for me to trade continuation away from. So if Asia consolidates, or sorry, Asia expands and London consolidates, then I would revert to London low as a manipulation to then continue. You don't see this profile a lot though, honestly. I can remember one. It was like last week no, it was like 2 weeks ago. Let me try to find it. It was like over here. Pretty sure it was right here. No, it was one of these days maybe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. If I go to 30-minute, I'll know. Yeah. So look here. When I come to the market, now we didn't expand, but it's the same logic. Where low of the day is Asia session. Do you see this? And then London just consolidates, basically. So it's like, I want to ideally trade away from something that's protected. I don't view any of this as like protected, right? These are all like failure swings to me, And if you look on ES, it's like worse, I think. Yeah, it's just trash, right? So I would ideally want price to either do this, then go higher, or like take out one of these internal, because when you look at, I'm viewing this as a relevant point, which is the current low of the day, and obviously you have this swing point. Ideally, price takes out this swing point or creates a new low of the day for me to trade away from. So what we see is YM do that exactly. So now I can trade away from this because we create an SMT here. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I mean by that. And this is why I trade long. I took like 2 longs here. One, this one right here, I'm trading within a candle too because the 4 hours already supported expansion rate. So I'm pairing this with the driver, right? So look here. We have 8:30 red fold or 9:30, sorry. I don't know why I thought 8:30. But 9:30 expands away from low day. That's something that we always talk about. And I was looking for ideally the previous day's high, because when I go over here, the previous day here manipulates this swing low and forms an SMT. So you see how this day didn't even reverse? It didn't expand away from this SMT. So that's why early on in the day we're just expanding right off rip. It's kind of what I just early on in the stream I talked about this, but fractally in gold and silver. It's the same thing. But yeah, I was looking for the previous high mainly, and then maybe beyond that. But if you look here, around 2R, I obviously partialed, and then I had to just go BE. I couldn't trail to anything necessarily. Like there's no structured trail here too. So I just had to eat this break even. So it was like a half win there. And then I think we had like 10 o'clock red folder news, and I just re-entered and caught like a 5R really nice trade on the 3-minute here. So right here, I took this trade right here. This is like 2-stage SMT, really nice trade. And then we eventually got there. But yeah, that was a good trade. But that's what I mean by that, kind of. That makes sense. Take the same CL loss? Yeah. It's all good. Wait, do you actually ban him? Damn. Yeah, dude, there's like hella people that be tagging me in on like X and stuff, and I'm like, dude, how do you know my model? You know what I'm saying? Like, crazy work. Hey, Garrett, I took a sell and skull. Oh, I already went over that. Yeah, just fading the daily candle. You can do it, but you just have to target back in the range. It's a positional entry. I went over that in the beginning of the stream. I went pretty detailed, but it's very logical. It's situational stuff when you can take like positional entries like that. YM longs. Yeah, YM was like the strongest asset here. So when you get this close here at 9 a.m., right? So if you look here at this chart, it's just consolidation, right? So if you want to go higher to maybe these highs, especially on the other assets, the like really nice highs to target, you want to be trading away from what? Anyone know? When you want, it's just like when you want to get to anywhere, you want to be trading away from what? What is Frank talking about, bro? Okay, yes, but what do you want the high and low day to be created from? Yeah, high resistance, exactly. So you have that potentially here, right? When I look at the other assets, let's look because I don't even know what that looks like. Oh wait, I'm tripping, dick. Oh no, yeah, this is a potential low day. No, AC would disagree because he shorted this next candle. But what would you want to see 930 do if this is the low of the day? You want it to expand away. So, and I always say this is one of my pretty strict on this rule is when I have an assumed low of day, especially on like a low probable day like this, just because of the previous day, huge range expansion. So like I'm essentially catching the low of this huge ass expansion. So I want more confirmation. So I want 930 to expand away from the low day. Now, what does it do? Clearly doesn't do that, obviously. So what you want to happen? Oh my god, my throat's drying up. What you want to happen is 930 to reverse the day, which would be this 9 o'clock candle, ideally, right? Which on these assets it doesn't do, as we see. NQ especially, we have like the strongest close, but this asset, the 9 o'clock candle, as we see, it does reverse price. So it's kind of like it's kind of like last Monday when like it's hard to revert to anything to manipulate. But if we're gonna go back to this new week opening gap the same day, then 930 needs to reverse price at this point, or 945. These like red folder news events, when they don't do that, they provide a continuation signature, like sweep out and then close back above. That's you got to chalk sells that day, you know. So it's like the same thing today. If the driver doesn't reverse price today, then I'm never gonna long it. But this is like a really nice draw here, as you see. So as we see, 9 o'clock candle does reverse price potentially, right? We go to YM, obviously because bullish, right? We're way stronger here. So ideally you want to trade this asset, right? But the thing about this is I didn't know how far this asset was gonna go. Look how close we are to this high. When I look left, there's not much else to target. Maybe you choose a fair value gap or something. So maybe this could have been a target. I don't even know if this gets hit, to be honest, but that's what I'm kind of viewing, right? It does get hit, but if you look here, if the previous 4-hour candle reverses, so this is 9 o'clock candle, 10 a.m. is next, then I expect the 10 a.m. candle just to expand, right? Which is what it does, right? So you could along this asset, but we're so close to here. I just wasn't sure how big of an expansion we're gonna get today, just because of the previous day, like I said. It's kind of just like not ideal. There's no SMT at the lows. It's like, it's not that great. But I can definitely assume that we're going to get to these highs, right? I just don't know how far we're going to get past these highs. So that's why I'm not longing YM. I longed, NQES, but this is a great trade idea. So like if you enter on the first CSD, I mean, it's right here. It's just like the RR is horrible. Like this is a very big stop loss. So I would definitely be demanding, just being honest, I would definitely be demanding like probably this breaker here, the body of it, just to reduce my stop loss and get like 2R like that. But it just doesn't hit your CSD or whatever. Maybe the 3-minute. I don't know. It's a little bit better actually. This is just within the reversal candle. So maybe you guys don't view that way. Maybe don't view price within 1-hour candles and 4-hour candles. But just with the framework, right? You want to see a reversal off this low. and a reaction off it, maybe you could take this. I don't know what your strategies are, but this is ideally what you want, right? 930 opens low, manipulates, we're closing through. This is something that you could take. Once we take this out, man, it's kind of, even though it does expand, that's just hindsight for me. Just like, I don't know. But I would take, you know, one of these assets, which I did, right? So any of these CSDs here are valid to me. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I just don't have any potential entries there in that low over there. You all suck. Yeah, 3-minute breaker. That was like the only thing that I saw. Yeah, I did go over oil. I got railed. Look at this. Look at this, dude. Look, frig. Like, bro, what? Look, holy shit. It's still going. Bro, I missed out on a Lambo. Insane work, bro. Nah, that's crazy. This is my real target, though. Right here. It's not crazy, bro. What is it going towards? I didn't even look. Like, what is our target on the daily? Maybe this high? But, dude, I would never expect this. I'm gonna be honest. I would not have caught that whole move. You got no way. That's insane. Dude, I know. I could have re-entered, so it's like on my entry though, like we had SMT here, bro. There was SMT here with RB, but then we create a more like significant one. So we still expand within the same candle that I lost in. But if you go to RB, bro, look, we take out this previous 4-hour candle low. And yeah, hold on. Yeah, so that's great. And then RB also CSDs here, so look. This re-entry would have been fire. So see it here. So this is my mistake, probably. Like at this point, this is when I entered CL. But like this, the correlated assets was just a huge bearish expansion candle. And then we're not even close to CSDing, so that's probably not ideal to see. Right? And then price just like sweeps up this high and then kind of reverses. But when price comes all the way down here, and creates that SMT and then closes through like right there, that's when I could probably re-enter this trade right here. Whoops. I just was already in a trade. Like that's when this entry becomes a lot nicer. But it is what it is. But that's a crazy expansion. Like what the fuck? What the fuck? There's still time to get in. It's crazy. What's the reason? I don't know. I don't know if it's like some economic thing, bro. That's a crazy expansion though. I get why it's bullish, but yeah, I don't know, bro. This is a crazy expansion. Pretty crazy. On a Monday. We did like consolidate prior to it. So I don't know. I didn't really check red folder either for this asset. But these highs looking nice for this week. We also get a new monthly candle. So like the previous candle reverse. So potentially something like that would be dope. The oil has been interesting. Traded it a couple times last week. Gold is also just flying. It's insane. So look at this asset. The weaker one is in premium discount. This is good for continuation. As you see, we're just expanding over here. Yeah, crazy, bro. Absolutely crazy. Look at this monthly candle, man. I haven't looked at the monthly chart in a while. Monthly GXT. What would it even be? Hold on. How would he even do a monthly GXT? Within a monthly candle, and then you need like a weekly reversal candle and like a daily CSD or something. 4-hour CC. Low key, I'm gonna add that for swing traders. How to get your bias? There's a couple ways. One way you can get your bias is like daily closures, but they have to like be in conjunction with like a model or something. So like last week, for example, or something, when I get like this, like they have to mean something. It's not like every day is a valid close, because when you look, let's say this close here, it totally makes sense why this is a relevant close after taking out the swing point high, and also there's no wick on Monday's low, so we can trade this day to get to here, right? So that's why I traded this day. What about this reversal candle here? You can't just pattern trade it, right? Because when I go to lower time frame, it's just consolidation, right? So it's just expansion, consolidation, expansion. So it's like you can't pattern trade it, but like I said, when you have a narrative supporting it, the daily closures are one, it gives you an idea of what the next day can do. But you still need profiles to confirm that, which is why I rely heavily on profiles, like super heavily. And also just, correlation between assets. That's probably the biggest narrative, Yeah, those three things really. But profiles are like everyday thing. That's what I studied the most, I would say, is profiling. Kind of like a fees. A fees is big on profiling too. What would you do if the 4-hour profile is going against the daily profile? Well, I don't really care. It's like the 4-hour profile. A lot of people think I'm just viewing like closes or something, but that's not really the case. I'm viewing profiles through how the daily range is developing, not how the 4-hour is closing. So like you can't view a profile with this close, for example, right? But I don't care about that. On YM you could, but it's really about what happened within this 1-hour candle. Right? We swept this 1-hour low, which you can't even see on the 4-hour time frame. So like I'm really using the 1-hour and the 4-hour to frame the high and low of the day, essentially, right? But just because we have a closure doesn't mean that's the high of the day, for example, if that makes sense. It's more about like, what's within the daily range, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, if I don't have some framework that's backing up a daily profile or something, I simply won't trade it. Even if we have a close, right? If we're our close, it wouldn't make sense. Also, I saw someone traded 15-second CSD. Oh, I don't do it. I don't even have the 15-second chart or any of the second chart. I don't think I do I? Shit, might. Okay, no, I don't. I'm too broke, I guess. Market pro. What the fuck? Thoughts on the 9 o'clock candle. Wait, what? Thoughts on the 9 a.m. candle longs. Failed. Oh, so already mentioned this, but when you have a low of day, especially when you're really catching the low of a daily expansion. So first off, you can already assume this day is going to be like low probability. Why? Because we're taking out this low, right? So after you expand into a level, it can get pretty, small range or whatnot. But also the previous day expanded, right? But I would never trade short necessarily. Just me personally, when the high day looks like this. I want to trade back to this level, right? So like, yeah, potentially this could be this could for sure be a potential long, right? You have a CSD, but what I want to see, right? I want to wait for 930 to. I've already mentioned this like so many times. Like when you have an assumed low of day, 930 should expand away. It should do that, right? And if, let's say you don't have a assumed high and low day, then I want 930 of the drivers to reverse the day or to manipulate, right? So in this case, we have an assumed low of day here, we could say, right? But 930 should do what? It should expand away, which we clearly see it doesn't do. So this is why I always wait for drivers, usually. But obviously, we fail to do that. So you would need to wait for this hourly close. So obviously within this 1 hour candle, this 9 o'clock candle, you have the driver, right? Now where's the only level we could reverse from? There's nothing to the left. We've already taken out this low. This is your last chance. It's this swing low. If you don't manipulate this, then forget it, because like I said, I want the driver to reverse price. So you see this 9 o'clock candle clearly reverses. When I go to like NQ, it doesn't look that way, right? This is how you gauge strength. You obviously see this candle just closes stronger. So you know this asset's weaker. You look at ES, it's a bit stronger. We go to YM, it's the strongest because it does reverse price. We have a bullish close, right? So with that, you could be looking to long YM, but I already said, like, for me personally, it's like I can really only see this high getting hit. I don't know what else is going to happen after that. I don't know how far we're going to go because I don't really care about fair value gaps necessarily. But I could, like I said, that same high on YM is like this high on ES. I could definitely frame a trade on ES to this high, right? Or NQ to these highs, right? So I could just expect 10 a.m. continuation if this is going to be the reversal, which, like I said, this is the only area for price to reverse from, and it does do it. And so when price starts to expand away from that, this is what you want to see, and then, yeah. But yeah, I don't care about this failing necessarily. It's just an if-then statement. Like, yeah, if this was low of day, 930 should expand away. Okay, if this is going to be a bullish day still, then 930 needs to manipulate this low. If it doesn't, then I will not trade long this day. And I also wouldn't short it. Because like I said, I don't trade away from these highs. Does that make sense, kind of? This is kind of how I view it. And then when you get this close on like the 4 hour, pretty decent. Right. Where we at though? Where we at though? I took a 4 hour 30-minute fractional short on silver. 830. Is that something you? That's exactly what I took. Right? 830. Pretty sure it was that. Oh, what the fuck? I'm still on YM. I was like, what the hell? 830, right? Yeah, I took 830 right there. That's what I took. No, it's not low probability at all. Could you look at CL on the 30-minute fractal model? Entry was at 10:09. Did I really miss that or something? I'm not gonna lie, I was not looking at the 30-minute. So, oh, way up here. I don't like this. Yeah, like look, I would never take this in my life. Because you've already expanded. Like if you look at the daily range at this point. If I can pull this indicator up. It's not like the biggest expansion day. Oh, bruh. Hold on. But it's the only relevant objectives when I look to the left. Like, I really don't expect price to. I wouldn't be expecting this day to expand, right? It just doesn't. Not saying it doesn't make sense, but it's just hard to anticipate. So I don't really trade stuff like that. So like when we take out objectives, this is like my target. Like I want to be in before we take out this high. I want to target this and then potentially hold runners to like whatever the fuck. But when we take this out, I'm never looking to trade this. I don't even know. So like that, yeah, I'm not. This high in the range, I know it works, but yeah, I'm not going to be hindsight. Mechanically, yeah, that's the fractal model, but I would never take that in my life. Ever, ever, ever. Uh, entry, hold on. It was at, yeah, I was at 920. Yeah, I got on too early, in hindsight for sure. There's some SMT on my entry, but yeah, this right here, create an SMT, and also CSDs on this asset too. So like this re-entry right here is really fire. This 945, pretty good entry. Do you ever trade past New York AM session, for example? You can trade Q2 on 10 a.m. So yeah, like, I'll hold in PM session for sure. But as far as entering in PM session, like rarely, very rarely. But I will only if there's a draw open. So like I traded this. It was like not NFP, FOMC last week or something, or maybe the previous week I traded. What's another time I traded? Oh, it's like very rarely though. Shoot, I don't even remember what day it was. It was this one. Traded this day here. Pretty sure. Yeah. This is the 1400 candle. If you look here, this one. But I rarely do it. This is like very situational. So that was a really good and obvious trade there. But yeah, generally like in PM session, the move has already happened. The draws have already been hit. So it's like pretty uninteresting. But if there's still, something to take, if there's still like open objectives. And the only reason I took this trade, and the reason I think it's logical, is I think it's this day, right? Is if you look before the driver. So first off, we had like some SMT, right? Between the previous day's low. So if you look here on ES, I don't know if we take it on ES. I don't even think we do. Yeah, so this SMT with the previous day's low is pretty important, right? Look on in Q. We obviously take this low. And it's within this opposing candle, right? And there's an SMT down here as well. So Monday originally opens high first, and then we put that SMT below the weekly open. But here's the thing about this SMT. It's literally just like this day. Like, it's the exact same thing. Like, so the previous days, I'm talking about this day here, and then the day I'm trading. The previous days to those days, they put in SMT, but they haven't expanded away. So generally, early on in the day, we're going to expand away, or it's going to be hard to put in some like relevant low of the day when you don't sweep out the previous day's low. See how we're not sweeping this out? So it's not going to look clean in a sense. When I come into the charts, not come into the chart, but when I see this basically at 9:30, so look, here's one of those if-then scenarios. Because I wasn't totally sure, right? I can't trust this price section right now to be bullish and for this SMC to hold. I simply can't. But when the driver does what? It expands away from the low day and then fails to reverse from this high. When I look to the left, there's nothing else to reverse from. Or this is way too high in the range. So this is the only area to potentially frame a short from. So when price fails to manipulate this, that's pretty much your confirmation right there. As you see, it fails to do it. And here's the thing about this PA, like why I wouldn't be looking for longs here. It's because when you look at how far away, this next objective is from price, it's super far away. And I'm not expecting price to expand prior to the FOMC news event. I'm going to wait for that. I'll just let the day pass and wait for FOMC to come, right? So it's right here. So here's the 1300 candle. Now it's just like 9:30, right? If we have an assumed low day, what should the driver do? It should expand away, right? Now here's the reason why I'm even longing, right? Is because we're inside barring within this daily candle. And all of this is a big range, right? I have that narrative of this SMT here, right? That's for one. And then I'm not expecting an inside bar day on a heavy news event. It doesn't make sense. So it's like I can only frame the previous high, essentially. And obviously this high as well up here, which is what I targeted. But on I actually took this on ES, but whatever. So if you look here on the 4-hour time frame, we're opening up within this fair value gap, right? So ideally we sweep out this previous candle's low, which is the fair value gap high. We continue higher. So you want to see the first stage of FOMC, so 1400, expand away from the low day. You see what it does? And also, it creates a SMT with YM. So you see this low gets taken out. Do you see this? The weaker asset also showing strength. Look at the close. Look at this close. And compare it to the other assets. It's actually stronger, damn near, or it's just as strong. So this is a really good sign, right? So we have the SMT. And when I think about what happened prior to news event, we retraced essentially. So it's like I don't need to see more retracement. Like this SMT is like it's kind of like the what's it called? The trigger for expansion, right? Retracement expansion. That's what I'm assuming, right? So I can assume that this SMT is forming the low of the 1400 candle. So I just expect the 1430 to just expand. So if I go on the 3-minute, I'm simply waiting for this, like some sort of continuation signature. So here's the first CSD. Okay, never mind. Here's the first CSD. I'm not entering on that yet, but when I see this, I can enter, right? When I go to NQ, we have yet to CSD, so I'm just gonna take, ES here. And I'm positioning myself pretty low in this range here as well. And yeah, so this is my target. My overall target was up here. And as you see, there's plenty of other opportunities as well. But as we expect, 1430 just expands away from low day, right? And then boom, we eventually get there. So that's just one of those like positional entries around news that I often take when the when the setup is there, when the framework supports it. Took a loss to the tick on ES, entered at the 10:03 candle open. 10 o'clock. So I like the idea of longing, but 10 o'clock. Okay, I don't understand. What are you entering on though? Like the 1-minute chart or something? Let me guess, you entered like this? Or what? I'm guessing we took out these highs. Yeah. Was it this right here? I'm assuming like this. Or maybe like somewhere in this range here. I don't even know who asked me that question. Fuck. Okay. 30-minute, 3-minute? Okay, I don't see an entry here then. When you think about an opposing candle, maybe you enter it off of this. Maybe you're thinking this is a CSD or something like this. So when you think about like opposing candles, you want to filter them out. So like we don't care about these opposing candles because for one, you want it to create a swing point, right? That's for one, because you want to trade away from swing points, right? This is just one solid expansion, right? So if we don't create something like this, then when we hit this high here, it's very likely to retrace, right? Because we haven't retraced in this whole leg, basically. Like this is not significant. It's not a swing point, right? And you also want like bulkier opposing candles, ideally. So more like bulky, not these small-bodied candles. That's just two filters. Another thing is maybe some people require, like the fractal model requires you to create an opposing candle from a key level, but this doesn't hit anything, right? It's just continuation. It doesn't hit this fair value gap or anything. It just creates it. So that's just like one thing, but yeah. It's mainly the swing point thing, honestly. But yeah, I mean, price just hits a relevant level, like takes out all these highs, and you get a new phase of price. We just retrace. Slow mode is ass. I don't even know how to change it. I'm not gonna lie. Never mind. I'll just do that then. Wait, did I just change it? I assumed that I could do it. I just did it. Would you advise only trade after 9:30 or volatility? I would. Um, if you're using my model or just if you know my model, if you're like new or whatever, like you should just trade the 10 a.m. candle because it's continuation like majority of the time. Like today, it's continuation. Where we see 6 a.m. put in the low of the day, and 10 a.m. continues. Like this is how it is majority of the time. Um, but yeah, until you learn how drivers work and how to implement them within your framework, within profiles, then yeah, I would definitely. It's like very specific when you should enter prior to 9:30 or prior to a driver. That I would just avoid it until you get the experience. How early will you enter 6 a.m.? Like 8 a.m. Especially on like gold and CL oil. I'll enter like 8 o'clock. But yeah, I wanna refer to like the drivers within that candle. So like 8:30, 9:30. Especially for continuation. Do you need a 30-minute or 1 hour CC? Oh no. Nope. I don't even need a 15-minute. It's a common thing to trade straight after 2. No. Like I rarely do it. But it was just like so one-sided um, that I was just doing it. I don't even trade FOMC barely. But yeah, like there's a reason why like I'm expecting a just expansion. Like I could have got railed there, but like I was accepting that risk because it just doesn't make sense to me. Why would price do this? Like because it's expansion retracement before the news. So when we're inside barring and we put an SMT here, it's like why would we retrace again? At that point, it's already 2:30 in the day. There's not enough time in the day to like take me out again. And I mean maybe there is, but this makes sense to me. Just expansion, retracement, put in an SMT, right? And I'm just expecting continuation. Pretty much because the inside bar. And then the first stage is just expanding away from low day, which is like perfect. Exactly what we're gonna see. But I rarely trade FOMC, but because majority of the time, like there's just nothing to target. But in this case, there was. If you were to take a long, I did take a long. There's a couple ways to do it. You just think about the Fractal model. Pretty, fairly straightforward here. Literally like any of these, you know. But within one of these opposing candles, I took a 1-minute entry. It was just to hit a trading day, so it's like almost like a scalp, but I got a lot more out of it. Just because I trailed along. All you have to do is hit $200 lock in a trading day. Interested in joining mentorship? Is there a crypto? Fuck. I don't know, man. You're gonna have to ask. I can ask T real quick. Let me text him. I don't know if there is though. Let me ask him. I asked him for you. He usually answers pretty quick. What's it like? Oh, is it viable to look? Okay, he answered already. Bro, so quick. He said we don't unless it's lifetime. Uh, is it viable to look back to the lows in 2024 to see a retracement off on a day like today? Oh, wait, what? Oh, like these lows? Wait, nowhere. Like something around here? I don't really care about... when I like frame trades or whatever, I use stuff like this as targets more than framing reversals off of. They're just too to the left, you know, like way to the left. When I frame like reversals or anything like that, or even continuation, like some people will like mark this fair value gap out. It's like totally irrelevant. I'm telling you, like it's absolutely irrelevant. I don't worry about continuation like that or framing reversal off of stuff like this. More so like close, like within like the previous week's range generally, or the current week's range, just for framing profiles. And then for continuation or reversal within the daily candles, I'm referring to the previous day and the current day. That's pretty much it. So more close ranged, stuff to frame all that. Why do I use B adjusts? What am I supposed to be using? I honestly don't know. I don't see a difference. Am I stupid? Which one's the one that like messes everything up? Bro, what's the difference? Am I tripping? Oh, okay. That's why I had it on. How would you take a trade on EU or GU today? Oh, I haven't looked. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Okay. Previous day's low. Okay, so let me delete all this stuff. Are we in like premium discounted range? Okay. Just want to see the profile here. Oh, it looks fire. Daily opens low first. That's fire. Do we create an SM2 this low? That'd be super sick. Or at least take it out. Okay, we do take out that low. Now, do we take this low out on the other assets? Okay, we do over here. Okay, there's no SM2 that high, but it's super, super nice. Wait, there's... How is there an SMT? Okay, I see it. I wish there was SMT at the pre-stays high. That'd be sick. There's SMT here, though, I think. It's a bit weird, though. But yeah, this is a really nice opportunity here to trade this. Look at this CSD right here. It's in London? Yeah. So we make an opposing run, so we open high first, which is generally how you want a bearish day to form. Look on DXY. It's just super nice as well. Literally, there's just a consolidation over here. You also CSD here. And you don't quite close below, but you don't have to have a CSD. At least I don't require it. Yeah, something like around here would be sick. But it just kind of melts. What about over here? So mechanically, like this is an entry right here. Unless it's like a 30-minute model. Let's see. Technically, no. So like this would be the trade mechanically, but I don't even know if this like works. Looking for like this low maybe. It's just like super choppy. Could be target. Yeah, like this low. So like this is what I'm talking about with like lows like this. You want to have at least 2R when you hit this low, because when you look left, look at the space between them. You're going to get reactions at these levels, right? Where like they're super spaced out. This is probably like a higher time frame fair value gap if I have to guess. If I go like 7 hour or some shit, like some random time. Maybe like 12 hour. It's gotta be a fair value gap. Yeah, it's a fair value gap there, but ideally you want to get 2R at least to this level because it's likely to retrace or consolidate at this level. This is just not a trade I would want to be in. Like, I know it works, but like, these are the super annoying trades. You get these super deep pullbacks. Like, that's ass. Maybe it was like a continuation entry somewhere. Right here. Let me see the 4-hour candle though. Yeah, that's valid. What about any SMT around here? Like, it's alright. I don't really like trading continuations like this, but mechanically it's there. You have this candle 3 closure. You could mechanically take that right there. I mean, there's some opportunities there. I like the framework for this trade, this little manipulation to get to these equal lows. Pretty nice. It's a bit sloppy. Now, this day was super clean. This previous day, very logical. That was Friday's trading. This is so fire right here. To get to these like relative equal lows or highs. But I don't even trade forex. You can see the low. Then that would have been too far to the left. You see that low? Then that was far, far to the left. If you use it as a target and then trade it back into the range, is that valid? Trying to justify candle for C2 that was making low. I don't understand. I don't know which level you're talking about here. Maybe it was this one. Yeah, like we take out that low and stuff. It's just like it's really the profile. Like when I go to ES, taking out this low as well. You're gonna see how this asset's stronger, right? Because on Friday, we damn near take out this low. On ES, see how much farther we are from it. We just wick this low in general. And then we have, really I'm looking for more close proximity stuff. So like I said, this was a potential reversal. You have an hourly close, but this is before the driver. So you want the driver to expand away from here. It doesn't do that. So if this is going to fail, the CSD, then the driver needs to manipulate this low. That's the only level 2 reverse firm, right? So when price does that, that's fine. Then we can look for 10 a.m. continuation into the unestablished highs of the day. All these failure swings. This is what we get. That's what I'm really framing off of. But I get what you're saying. Like you have this low over here, whatnot. But yeah, you have a 6 a.m. New York reversal, 10 a.m. New York continuation. Yeah, ideally you want to frame reversals off the previous day or the current day's range and continuation. But here it just makes sense, like just logically, like weekly profile stuff. It just makes sense to get a new phase of price after such a huge daily range on Friday. You're not expecting Monday to, no red folder. It's also NFP. You're not expecting a continuation, like a super large continuation. So when the daily opens low first into this sell side here, also a major objective, which also again makes sense to get a new phase of price. It just makes sense to like more so be a small range day and come back to that daily open. So if you go on my course and look how to trade a reversal candle, this is literally exactly how to trade it. Like if you go to my course, it's going to be this exactly. It's going to talk about the driver and everything. So very repeatable. A driver just means like 9:30, red folder news events, like volatility injections. Very important and very useful to confirm narrative and to pair reversals and continuations with and stuff like that. But yeah, they really confirm narrative. Like you can already have an idea of what price is going to do for the day or at the driver. Like a lot of times you can already anticipate what the driver's going to do, but when it actually, obviously when it starts to expand and whatnot, and that's like really nice to see. But there are ways you can already anticipate where the driver's going to go and you can just execute before it, which I do sometimes when the framework is there. But when framing a reversal off previous low, do you need that low to be strong low? I think it's rep, it doesn't matter. What do you mean a strong low? Like a protected swing? So if you're trying to frame like a expansion, so like this is not framed off the previous low. I'll show you what is though. So generally, when we think about reversals, just think about trading in general. You want to trade expansion candle. So when the previous candle more so closes near its own high. Okay, hold on. Bro's barking at like a squirrel or something. What was I gonna say? When you're framing a reversal to expansion day, there's two things that we want to see, right? So when the previous day is an expansion candle, we can always refer to the previous day's high as a reversal point, right? And then you want to see a small wick, right? Now, as far as I think what you meant by protected swing, so like something like this, that's always what you want to see, but it's not always how it has to happen. So this sweep happens in Asia, like super early in the day. So that's obviously not protected swing in a sense, as we see here. It's literally like 2000, but this is what I talked about earlier. If we have a high like this, Joey, shut up, bruh. So annoying. But when you see the high of days like Asia or something, and I showed an example earlier like this, but you want first off the driver to expand away. So there's 930, right? But also you want price to create like an internal protected swing, which is what we have here. So anywhere I want to get to, if I want to get to these lows, I'm always wanting to trade away from some, relevant swing, or manipulation. But it doesn't have to be at the high of day like you see here. This is internal to the daily range. So if I go to like ES here, see this SMT, and this is what I call two-stage SMT, or a variant of it, where we see originally ES is the weaker pair, where it puts in a lower low, and then you see that strength switch, which is I love to see this always. That kind of confirms the weaker asset, as you see. Just like one of the ways you can use two-stage SMTs, but Joey's tripping, bro. Bro's just staring down the squirrel right now. But yeah, if that makes sense, like internal manipulation. When the high bay is kind of sussed out, you kind of want to have two of those things: internal manipulation and the driver to expand away from that. Like these, like there's so many like of these like little maybe like if then scenarios or like these little frameworks. There's not much like framework, there's not many variants of it, but they repeat like it's crazy. Do you do one-on-one calls? Like I don't have it set up. I've done a couple only. I don't have it set up like anything like that, but you could like DM me. Okay, bro. These dogs are tripping. I only do like hourly though, hourly calls. Not really too into the one-on-one mentorships. When you having two-stage SMT, bro. Oh my god, this dog. Position. Might hop off soon, guys. What time is it? 12:30. Yeah, I've been on this for a while. Joey just vibing for real. If price open and consolidates, not open high or low, what should we do? Okay, so if you ever come into this session and you see price just consolidate, it's pretty simple. So let's say price does something like this. Let's say previous day expands, and then we just consolidate. This is actually good to see, but you want to see a manipulation because although price can do this, it can just expand without manipulating. Manipulation is not a requirement, right? But we want to demand a manipulation because we always trade away. We always want to be trading away from manipulation, right? So like, let's say you come into the session at like 9:30, and you see there's no established higher low day, like this. You ideally want 9:30 to run out this low, and then you can pair that driver with manipulation, right? And then a close through would be valid to take it like that. But if we just trade away from it, I generally don't trade that. But it can do that. Like that can absolutely happen. But that's what we require. Like we require certain things. Price doesn't have to do them, but we just wait for a price to do what we require it to do. How often do you do these things? Oh, in this Discord? Not that often. Probably like once a week or something. Maybe twice. It's not like a scheduled thing. I'll just get bored and just do them. Oh yeah, T trades and AM have a weekly. So like within the lens, you're the lens. They do like scheduled streams each week. So we do one each a week. So I think T trades is like frick. It's in the weekdays. It's like Thursday or Wednesday. AMs is on Sundays. Mine's on Saturdays. You have Nico on Monday. Ian as well and Kiko have their days. So like each day of the week, not every single. We don't have 7 educators, but what do we have? Like we got about 4. We got 6. So 6 days a week you have a stream. I didn't realize that. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, mine's on Saturday. Hey, I'm a little bit confused. And open outlook close candle. How can I trust random high and low? Now we're not trusting any random high and low. So like just because the daily opens low or something and trades into a whatever, like first off, like this is how I use open high and low close. So if you think about models like internal to external or something, or let's say say external to internal, and then my favorite, which is like we see today. This can look many ways, but like just manipulation and then distribution into lows. That was horrible. So I don't know what to call this. Whatever the hell this is. Like maybe order pairing ranges. I don't know. I don't know what to call it. It's simply just high resistance to low resistance. I don't know what to call it, but like these three models are like framework, right? And then this is what you can use every single day. And there's ways to implement them with the daily candles. So like the way they form. So let's say this daily candle opens right here. So when you think about a bearish candle, there's two things we're concerned with. Ideally, this candle opens high first, right? And then this open high trades into something relevant, right? So this is relevant because it's within a framework, right? Where you have low resistance. How do you get to this low resistance? You require manipulation, right? Which is creating the high of day. So when price expands away, you can assume that this is the high of the day, right? It's forming the wick of the daily candle. Let's say this happens at a relevant time. Maybe this happens at 9:30. Now you're pairing this reversal with the driver. Maybe there's an SMT here as well, right? So you see how all these things kind of support this framework. So we're never trading framework alone, right? Let's say the daily openers were down here. I would never trade this external to internal because the daily candle does not support it, right? Because this day would be an expansion candle if the open is way down here, right? Does that make sense? So we want to see the daily candle open high into the reversal point. So if it opens low, it's opening into the reversal point, being internal range liquidity. That's forming the low of day. Right here, it's opening high into the external range or just manipulation. That's from the high of day. Maybe this candle over here opens right here. It's opening high into the external range. And we form some reversal. Then, we can expand into this low. So that's one way. You want it to open in its respective, formation or whatnot. So if it's bearish, you want it to open high first. And also you want to have a small wick which supports expansion away from that level, right? So when you think about just phases of price, right? Retracement into internal range liquidity and expansion. In order to get expansion, you need to be in what? An expansion candle. So you see how those things support each other over here. If you're going to manipulate, what happens after manipulation? We expand. So you need to be within an expansion candle to support that. So that's just like from some really like basic framework stuff. But there's other things that tie into it and whatnot with narrative in general. But this is like the very basic framework of how you would tie in, phases of price, open, high, low, close, and framework. So these are just frameworks, right? They cannot be pattern traded. Just like you can't pattern trade a profile, you can't say that this here is a London manipulation, right? Because if this candle here is making a huge opposing run, this obviously doesn't support a bullish expansion candle. So London being the low day, it's very unlikely. We wouldn't expect a New York continuation, right, past this opening price because the daily candle doesn't support it. So you see what I mean by the daily candle, the way it forms, and profiles, they have to like be in conjunction with each other. But yeah, probably gonna hop off now. Yeah, dude, it's actually like stupid cheap. I'm not gonna lie. I used to pay way more for like learning from idiots, dude. My supply and demand days, oh my god, bro, like so insane. Wasted so much money. So I recommend 50K accounts. They're just the best rules for payout and better drawdown, etc. But if one asset expands and takes out all the daily objectives and the other for the set day, but the other is still yet to get those objectives, would you still? So yeah, in a way. So like, right, it's pretty situational, but also an example actually on I think over here on There's a couple of days I can refer to here. It might be this day, I don't remember. Yeah, okay, here it is. So I'm using like this type of stuff. There's like multiple ways you can gauge when an asset is actually lagging versus if this is a true reversal. So let's look at here. So obviously on silver, we have yet to expand to this high, but when we go over here, we have expanded to this high, right? At least I think we have. Yeah, we have. It's a very shallow sweep rate. But how do you know if this asset is going to continue, right, as well as this one, right? If this asset, how do we know it's lagging? Well, what do we see here? The strength switch, right? See this 5 o'clock low, so London low, which is this fair value gap, essentially. Or this fair value gap, like 4 o'clock here. We create a lower low on the stronger asset. This is good, right? That strength is switching. This is like one way to do it. We see this bullish S&T. So then you can expect 10 a.m., right? If we've already retraced prior to 10 a.m., what should we expect 10 a.m. to do? Expand. So this is one of the trades I took here. And then, yeah, like you just target this, right? When I look at the PA here as well, kind of giving a retracement signature. We're just leaving feather swings here. So these highs, kind of like, it's not equal highs, but you know, that's always good to see. Not like a sharp, clean move lower. It's more like we print these two little small range candles after taking out an objective, which is not a reversal signature. You think about a reversal signature, it's like YM today or NQ today. When we take out this level here, we immediately displace the next candle. That's kind of what you want to see. That's like one way to do it. That's why I traded on last week, one of the trades. Probably gonna hop off, guys, now. But good little stream. All right, I'll catch y'all later, man. Good luck this week. Check team. All right, catch y'all later.